You know that feeling when your alarm goes off at like 6:55 a.m. on a Friday?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for most people, that exact moment is basically the absolute peak of the weekly grind.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Right. The snooze button gets hit. You're
Uh-huh.
just totally dreading the commute. You start, mentally preparing for a manager to be looking over your shoulder all
So
day.
you're essentially just counting down the hours until the weekend begins. It's that universal Friday morning slump. Looks like the
Exactly.
entire corporate world is practically sleepwalking until 5 p.m.
But, so what if I told you there is a whole subculture in the business world where that exact moment, that 6:55 Friday wake up, is treated like the launch sequence of a rocket?
Wait, really? A rocket launch?
I am dead serious. No snooze, no grogginess, just pure hyper-focused discipline. And we actually got our hands on a fascinating piece of raw source material that, well, it completely flips the script on what it takes to escape the traditional 9 to 5.
Right, the audio we're looking at today.
Yeah, it's a leaked internal audio recording from a Friday morning virtual training session.
And this session is called Webathon Season 16. It's this internal meeting for a direct selling and network marketing company called Indus Viva.
So our mission for this deep dive is to basically decode the DNA of direct selling entrepreneurship from the inside out.
Yeah.
We aren't looking at generic, polished, off-the-shelf business advice. We are analyzing a raw masterclass.
And it's given by a top-tier earner.
Exactly. We're looking at how he trains his team to scale from absolute zero to massive earnings. The speaker is actually introduced by the call's host as the Maradona of Indus Viva. His name is Prem Kumar.
Which is what makes this such a brilliant case study.
Yeah.
Because it's an internal strategy session, we're hearing the unvarnished psychology. We get to analyze the exact metaphors and the mindset shifts he demands from his team to, transition them out of an employee mindset and into a true entrepreneur mindset.
And man, that transition demands intense discipline right out of the gate.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the call starts at exactly 7 a.m., not 7:01, not
Yeah.
7:05.
Right.
The host of the call actually warns everyone that if someone isn't connected within 1 minute, they just aren't waiting.
Yeah, Prem actually compares this punctuality to Indigo Airlines.
Oh, right, the airline.
Yeah, he points out that Indigo dominates the Indian aviation market specifically because they respect time. And he says his team needs to adopt that exact same ruthlessness with their own schedules.
Which honestly introduces the biggest irony of the entire direct selling pitch.
How so?
Well, the main draw for millions of people joining network marketing is this super tantalizing promise of having no boss.
Oh, right. The freedom pitch.
Exactly. You get to escape the pressure, the arbitrary deadlines, the person breathing down your neck.
Yeah,
But right at the start, he immediately shatters that illusion for his audience.
he really does. He warns them that stepping into a no-boss business actually means you must become the boss.
Yeah.
There's no external manager to force you to work. So if you don't instantly adopt the mindset of a CEO managing your own time, you're just going to fail.
Right. And he makes a really sharp distinction here between a runner and a winner.
Right. A runner is someone who just goes through the motions.
Yeah.
They wake up, put on their suit, grab their notepad, and sit in the training. And they think that just being present is enough.
But a winner is different.
Exactly. A winner is a leader who never shows up alone. A winner always brings their team with them.
And that's where he introduces a concept that, I got to be honest, I really struggled with when I first listened to the audio.
Oh, which part?
He tells his recruits that to be a true leader, to bring people with you, you have to have caring. He explicitly says a selfish person cannot survive in this industry.
Right.
And I just have to push back on this. We are talking about a cutthroat, high-pressure sales environment. Caring feels like an incredibly soft metric to rely on for generating revenue. I mean, does holding someone's hand actually drive sales?
Well, think about it this way. In a traditional corporate hierarchy, you can absolutely be selfish.
Sure.
You can climb the ladder by stepping on people, hoarding information, or just, quietly outperforming your peers. But let's look at the actual structural mechanics of the network marketing model.
Okay.
Your income is entirely dependent on the volume and success of the people below you, your downline.
Okay, so the revenue rolls up from the team you build.
Precisely. If you recruit someone and then just abandon them, they will inevitably get frustrated and quit.
Right.
And if your downline quits, your entire network collapses. Therefore, caring isn't some moral, feel-good stance.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it is the fundamental operational requirement for retention. If you're selfish, Your team senses that you're just using them for a commission.
And they walk away.
Exactly. They stop following your lead, and your income goes to zero. You have to care enough to train them and keep them motivated through those really difficult early stages.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's not a moral high ground. It's literally a structural necessity. It actually reminds me of being a pacemaker in a marathon.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Right. Your success in that role isn't measured by how fast you, personally, cross the finish line. It's measured entirely by how many people you successfully drag across the finish line with you at the target pace.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. You're pacing the group, and if you leave the group behind, you failed the assignment.
But, there is a physical reality to caring for a team like that.
What do you mean?
If your income depends entirely on supporting and pacing these people, you can't exactly do that if you're constantly on the move, which I think completely shatters the second big myth of this industry.
The location independence thing.
Exactly. The idea of having no fixed place.
Right. The musafir or traveler mindset. He calls it a massive psychological trap for new entrepreneurs.
It really is. And Prem has a highly specific and honestly pretty funny story about how he completely fell into this trap when he first started out.
Oh yeah, the Hublin story.
Yes. He admits to his team that he thought no fixed place meant he was supposed to be a tourist. So he had built a small functioning team of about 10 to 15 people in Bengaluru.
Okay.
But then some friends in Mumbai called him up and said, hey, bring this great business model over to us.
The temptation of the untapped market, it's classic.
Right, it's irresistible. So he packs his bags, but on the way to Mumbai, other friends tell him to stop in Hubli.
Naturally.
So he stops in Hubli for a day, pitches a few people, gets incredibly excited thinking he just opened this massive new territory, and then he continues on to Mumbai.
And what happens in Mumbai?
Well, he spends a few days there, pitches 8 or 10 people, and suddenly realizes he only packed for a short trip. He literally runs out of clothes and has to rush back to Bengaluru.
And we can totally predict the structural fallout of that trip based on what we just discussed about retention.
Total collapse. The new recruits in Hubli didn't materialize. The people in Mumbai completely ghosted him.
And the original team.
The 15 people in Bengaluru quit because their leader, their pacemaker, just completely abandoned them.
Wow.
He tells the audience he was left with absolutely nothing. He uses the phrase nagarka nagatka, neither here nor there. He was just bouncing around like a tourist, chasing shiny objects.
Which is such a common trap. So to correct this fatal error for his team, he introduces a powerful counter-analogy.
Okay, what is it?
The farmer.
Uh-huh.
A farmer doesn't plant seeds in one village and then travel across the country hoping they magically grow.
Right, that would be ridiculous.
Exactly. A farmer lives right next to their crops. Why? Because you never know when the water will run dry, when you need to turn on the irrigation motor, or when stray animals might wander in and eat the harvest.
You have to be there.
You have to be a resident of the area where you're building your business.
You have to stay rooted.
Right.
And there is this genuinely charming, unscripted moment in the audio that highlights this farmer metaphor perfectly.
What the vocabulary moment.
Yes. So Prem's native language isn't Hindi, right? But he's delivering this massive training call in Hindi.
Right.
And he's explaining that when you plant tomatoes or potatoes, sometimes unwanted things grow alongside them that steal the water and fertilizer. And he's trying to think of the Hindi word for weeds.
And he just asks them.
He literally pauses the training to ask his audience for help. Live on the call, someone types the answer in the chat, and he learns the Hindi word Karpatwar.
And he openly celebrates it. He declares to his team, I am a student for life.
Yeah.
Taking pride in learning that word, Karpatwar, right there in the moment, demonstrates to his team that even as the top earner, he's still learning and adapting.
It's a great leadership move.
It really is.
Yeah.
But back to the core of his metaphor, the weeds, the Karpatwar. They represent the distractions, the family skepticism, and the self-doubt that grow in a new team member's mind.
Right. And if you are a tourist who planted the seed in Hubli and immediately left for Mumbai, you just aren't there to pull those weeds.
And those doubts will choke out the new recruit. Your business dies. You have to stay rooted long enough to pull the weeds and actually see the harvest.
You know, if you're listening to this and you've ever tried to launch a side hustle, you know exactly how strong this temptation is.
Oh, for sure.
You try a project, you get bored or hit a roadblock, and the next day you decide, I don't know, you're going to launch an app instead.
Yeah, chasing the next big thing.
You become a tourist in your own career. You really have to become a farmer and stay put. But wait, if you have to be glued to your team, like a farmer pulling weeds, how on earth do they sell the third big promise of direct selling?
Which one?
The idea of no fixed time. That completely contradicts the pitch that you can work whenever you want,
Yep,
right?
it does seem like a contradiction. But he addresses the reality of the time commitment head on. People join thinking they can casually build an empire on a few Sunday afternoons.
Yeah, exactly.
But he shatters this with the analogy of a vada pav vendor.
Oh, I love this part. He says, imagine going up to a street vendor who has been successfully selling vada pav in Bandra for 15 years and asking him, excuse me, sir, are you doing this part-time or full-time?
Right, the vendor would just laugh in your face.
Yeah. He'd say, maybe I did it part-time for the first 20 days, but I've been here every day for 15 years.
Because the underlying mechanism here is compounding effort. You can start part-time, absolutely.
Sure, like on weekends.
Yeah. If you're a teacher or a stay-at-home parent, you leverage your free hours. But he's telling his team that if you want massive, life-altering success, it eventually has to demand your full commitment.
He actually frames the demand on your time as the ultimate signal of success, which is fascinating.
How so?
Well, he says that when your phone starts ringing off the hook, when your downline is constantly demanding your time for meetings and presentations, you shouldn't get annoyed.
Oh, I see.
You shouldn't complain to your upline that you only signed up to be a part-timer. That influx of demands is a blessing. It's the universe signaling that you become a leader of value.
That is the inflection point. That is the exact moment you have to step up, abandon the part-time mindset, and give it your full attention.
I completely follow the logic there.
Okay.
But there's another massive claim he makes about the entry requirements for this business that I simply cannot accept at face value.
Oh, well, what is it?
He tells his recruits that having absolutely zero experience in sales, zero experience in public speaking, and zero business background is actually a massive advantage.
Okay.
I just need to stop and question this. Sales is a highly technical skill. You need to understand psychology, objection handling, closing techniques. How can walking in with zero experience possibly be an advantage over someone who has spent 10 years in corporate sales?
Well, think about the habits a corporate salesperson develops over 10 years.
Okay.
They're used to expense accounts, huge marketing budgets, brand recognition, and most importantly, a fixed salary, regardless of their daily output.
Right. They are used to a safety net.
Exactly. When they transition into a purely commission-based, self-directed network marketing role, those legacy habits become major liabilities.
Interesting.
They just expect the system to provide for them. Prem views direct selling as an entirely different vehicle. He actually calls it a university of entrepreneurship.
Okay.
He says that if you come in with an empty cup, meaning no preconceived notions of how things should work, the mentor and the system are designed to pour all the necessary skills into that cup.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, public speaking, objection handling, one-on-one pitching. The mentor provides the exact roadmap.
Okay, I see the mechanism now. It's kind of like downloading a brand new operating system onto a computer.
That's a great way to look at it.
Right. If you have zero experience, you have a completely blank hard drive. You don't have to waste months uninstalling all your buggy legacy software first.
Yeah.
You know, the bad habits and expectations you picked up from a comfortable corporate job.
Exactly.
You just install the mentor system flawlessly from day one.
That is an excellent way to conceptualize the empty cup. But he does include a crucial caveat about acquiring this new operating system.
What's the catch?
He uses a clever bit of Hindi wordplay to explain that just installing the software isn't enough. He tells his team they must strive to be a Buddha and not a Buddha.
A Buddha, not a Buddha. Okay, what is the distinction he's making there?
Well, a Buddha represents enlightenment, right? In this context, it's someone who absorbs the mentor's knowledge and immediately applies it to achieve a result. They take action.
Right. And a Buddha.
A Buddha, which translates roughly to a fool, is someone who constantly consumes knowledge but never actually acts on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A Buddha attends every Friday Webathon, takes immaculate notes, reads all the books, but never actually picks up the phone to make a pitch.
Analysis paralysis.
Exactly.
They're addicted to the feeling of learning, but terrified of the vulnerability of implementing. And in a business where you are your own boss, learning without acting generates exactly zero revenue.
Right. So, if an individual successfully navigates all of these shifts, if they accept the responsibility of being the boss, stay rooted like a farmer, dedicate their time fully, and act as a Buddha, what is the actual reward?
Of financials.
Let's look at the financial mechanics of this specific system, because the numbers he discusses are honestly staggering.
Yeah, we really need to demystify how these financials actually work. He starts small, to build the foundation, right?
Yeah.
He mentions that if you sell a single unit of their flagship health product, something called iPulse, you make a 500 rupee retail profit.
Which is fine.
Yeah, 500 rupees is a nice little bonus, but it's not life-changing wealth. But then he breaks down the structural scale of the network. He explains something called the dual team bonus.
And this is the core engine of network marketing compensation. You're essentially building two separate sales forces, a left leg and a right leg.
Okay.
As the product volume in both teams matches and grows, your commission scales up exponentially.
And he notes that this dual team bonus caps out at 2.5 lakh rupees a week.
Right.
Now, for context, 1 lakh is 100,000 rupees.
Yeah.
So 2.5 lakh a week translates to roughly 10 lakh a month, or 12.5 lakh in a 5-week month.
Which is massive.
It's huge.
Yeah.
But here is the mechanism he uses to explain what happens next, and the analogy is just brilliant. He equates hitting that 2.5 lakh weekly cap to paying a toll on a highway.
A toll.
Yeah. Before you hit that cap, you're just driving in the city. You're hitting traffic, you're navigating small streets, dealing with friction. But once you max out that dual team cap, you pay the toll and merge onto the express highway.
Oh, I like that. And merging onto that expressway unlocks a completely new revenue stream, which he calls the Big Brother bonus.
Right, the single team bonus. Once you prove you can max out the dual structure, you unlock a third organization. And that single team bonus alone caps at 5 lakh a week.
Wow.
So if you combine the 2.5 lakh from the dual team and the 5 lakh from the single team, you're looking at a maximum potential of 7.5 lakh rupees a week.
That's incredible.
That is roughly 30 lakh rupees a month. We're talking about over 35,000 US dollars every single month, just from mastering these two bonuses.
And he isn't just speaking in theoretical maximums either.
Yeah.
He anchors these numbers in his own reality to prove to his team that the system works. He casually mentions that his current income isn't even 30 lakh a month. It's hovering around 40 to 45 lakh a month.
Which is almost hard to comprehend.
It is. But the most striking data point he shares is actually from the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, right.
He explains the macroeconomic dynamic at play. While the rest of the world was terrified, locked down, and traditional brick-and-mortar businesses were just collapsing, their specific business model spiked.
Because of the products.
Yeah. Because they were distributing immunity-boosting health products through a decentralized network, demand just skyrocketed. During that peak, he claims his income hit over 1 crore 11 lakh in a single month.
Man, a crore is 10 million rupees. Over a crore in a single month is an astronomical figure. In fact, a listener on the call named Marjit actually types in the chat to correct him with the exact data point from the company's internal records.
Right.
He says it was exactly 114,983. The specificity of that number is wild.
The precision of that number just reinforces the scale of what is possible within their ecosystem. But it's not just about celebrating big numbers. It's about what those numbers represent when contrasted with the fragility of the outside world. And that brings us to the stark reality check at the very end of the recording.
Yeah. Throughout the entire call, Prem has been pitching freedom, ultimate responsibility, and massive financial upside. But near the end, he grounds all of this theory in a very sobering macroeconomic reality. He brings up recent mass layoffs at the tech giant Oracle. And again, Amarjeet, the guy providing the real-time data in the chat, confirms the details. Oracle laid off 3,000 employees overnight.
And we have to look at the mechanism of how a traditional corporate structure handles that kind of layoff.
Right.
It wasn't a conversation. It wasn't a negotiation. It was literally just an email sent at 6 a.m.
An email at 6 a.m. You wake up, check your phone in bed, and your livelihood, your security, is just gone.
Yep.
Which brings this entire deep dive full circle. At 6:55 a.m., a corporate employee might be waking up to an email saying their job of 10 years has been terminated by a faceless board of directors looking to trim budgets.
Exactly.
But at 7 a.m., Prem, Kumar, and his team are voluntarily logging onto a Webathon, taking absolute control of their own income by building independent networks.
He synthesizes this contrast beautifully. He is positioning network marketing not just as a side hustle for extra cash, but as a counter-cyclical lifeboat.
A lifeboat, yeah.
When traditional corporate structures fracture, when recessions hit, and tech companies fire 3,000 people before breakfast, this direct selling model provides agency. It gives people a tangible way to control their own destiny when the traditional systems inevitably fail them.
Prem ends his training by quoting a line from the blockbuster movie KGF. He says, "Powerful people don't come from powerful places. Powerful people make places powerful.
That's a strong quote.
Right. He's telling his team that this business model, this Aladdin's lamp, as he calls it, only works if the individual expands their own internal mindset to hold it. The business itself isn't small. It's the people's mindsets that are small. You have to become powerful internally to force the external system to work for you.
It demands absolute accountability from the individual.
So, just to recap the causal chain we've explored today, the illusion of the no-boss promise quickly reveals that ultimate freedom demands the intense discipline of becoming your own CEO.
Right.
That responsibility means you have to care for your downline, which physically requires you to abandon the tourist mindset and become a rooted farmer pulling the weeds of doubt.
Exactly.
We saw how arriving with zero experience is actually an advantage. A blank hard drive waiting for the mentor's operating system, provided you act like a Buddha and not a Voodoo. And finally, mastering all of these shifts unlocks a counter-cyclical financial expressway that thrives even when traditional corporate jobs prove to be incredibly fragile.
And that leads to a final thought for you to ponder as we wrap up.
Let's hear it.
The speaker mentioned early in the call that before you can conquer the business world, you must know yourself. Specifically, you must know exactly what motivates you and what drains you.
Okay.
So imagine this scenario. If your boss was suddenly removed today, right now, and you were solely responsible for your own daily output, what is the very first excuse you would use to procrastinate?
Oh, wow.
Because in a no-boss business, that single excuse isn't just a bad habit. It is the exact ceiling of your future income.
Man, that is a heavy question to sit with. Think about your 6:55 a.m. alarm tomorrow. Are you hitting snooze or are you launching the rocket? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.